Even if you're a seasoned Battle Royale warrior or a hotshot racer, Forza Horizon 5's genre-blending Eliminator mode is sure to provide you with an unfamiliar challenge. Between the desperate scramble to find a car worth driving and the constant threat of a surprise challenge from another racer, the Eliminator takes lightning reflexes and nerves of steel. And that's before you even make it to the mad cross-country dash that is the final showdown. So, here are a few tips to help you become the last car standing.
So, for the uninitiated, the Eliminator is a Battle Royale style match complete with its own ever-shrinking arena that contestants must stay inside of. Repeat, must. New cars are continuously dropped onto the map, so the early game is spent trying to upgrade your ride while watching out for other racers, as they can challenge you to mandatory head-to-head contests anytime they meet you just by beeping the horn button, and with a loser getting kicked out at the end of the contest, you don't want that to be you. At the end, we finish things up with a final showdown that sees all the remaining racers competing in a mad-style dash to a newly created finish line. Simple, kind of, right? Like many battle royales, the first big decision you have to make in an Eliminator is where on the map you want to start out. And as tempting as it is to drop down next to your favourite graffiti mural or a particularly picturesque hillside, the real priority is going to be landing somewhere near a likely car drop location. The WW Beetle, which everybody starts out with, is a classy little classic to be sure, but you don't want to find yourself relying on it in a do or die situation, so the early game is all about making it to one of those purple flares and snagging a new vehicle as quickly as possible. The drops are fairly randomized as well, but they do tend to occur in the more built-up areas of the map, next to landmarks, large buildings, that sort. So your best bet is to hop down just outside of the major towns and cities, giving you a great chance of nipping in and picking up a shiny new motor or two as soon as you spot that all-important purple haze. Wait a second, is that what Jimi Hendrix was singing about?
To keep things simple, the cars in the Eliminator are all graded from levels 1 to 10, allowing you to make an easy eyeball judgment about whether the car that has just plonked down is better than your current ride, or if you'd be better off sticking with what you've got. And obviously, it is important to keep an eye on these power rankings, or you might end up wandering into a one-on-one with a car several levels above your own. However, it's not just the car's level that you should take into account. The Eliminator is all about making it to your next destination as rapidly as possible, no matter what lies in the way. So it's predominantly an off-road event. Naturally, that means that rally cars, SUVs, and buggies are likely to outperform supercars and saloons. You might not feel like as much of a badass as you would in a level 10 supercar, but having a vehicle that is prepared to get its wheels dirty can make all the difference when you're herring through the desert in the final showdown.
So, now you've done all that, what cars do you want as you clamber up through the levels? Well, first things first, try to get something above level 4 by any means necessary right at the beginning, as the low level cars will leave you way too vulnerable to being picked on and picked off by your speedier opponents. Now, for the level 5 options, the Ford Focus RS and the decidedly beefier Ford 2069 Bronco are both excellent options with a nicely balanced set of stats that should keep you safe wherever the race takes you. From the level 6 options, you'll want to look out for either my personal favourite, the Exomotive Exocet Off-Road, perfect if you want to get down and dirty like its name suggests. I've won the Eliminator twice with this car, by the way. And the Audi RS7 Sportback, a nifty piece of German engineering which is exceptionally quick off the mark and ideal if you're worried about getting caught off guard in a head-to-head. At level 7, the Porsche Cayenne Turbo tops out at 170 miles per hour while still being robust enough to handle whatever terrain the map eventually decides to throw your way. On level 8, you'll be well set in either the Nissan GT-R 17 or the Polaris RZR Rockstar Energy Pro 2 truck. The Nissan is a real speedster, while the Polaris is so sturdy you could pretty much drive it into a volcano and it will handle just about fine. Naturally, level 9 boasts all kinds of tasty, delicious options. The Hoonigan Gymkhana 10 Ford Focus RSRX accelerates so fast it'll be going 60 before you've even said its whole name, while the VW Andretti Beetle gives you just the right mix of speed and off-road ability. And finally, if you reach the dizzying yet still attainable heights of a level 10 vehicle, it could happen folks, you should hope it's either a Funko F9 or a Hoonigan RS200. The Funko really pops thanks to its huge acceleration and launch stats, although loose handling does mean it's not for the faint of heart. On the other hand, the Hoonigan is pretty much the whole package, rolling at a ridiculous speed while staying in total control, even on the toughest terrain.
One of the main advantages of getting into a decent car as quickly as possible is that it gives you an opportunity to thin the herd by initiating head-to-heads with anyone who hasn't upgraded fast enough. Lots of players will take a more passive approach and try to avoid these contests, which means you can often get the jump on them by playing more aggressively. Keep the throttle low enough that you can lead the other driver into a head-to-head, and then floor it the moment the race begins to leave them crashing out of the race and you speeding off towards a vehicle upgrade. Drivers who have slowed down or stopped altogether are especially vulnerable to head-to-head challenges, so look out for anyone who's just switched cars or slowed up to check a car dropout. You'll also encounter some players who like to play it sly by staying completely still somewhere out of view, rendering them invisible on the minimap but making them total sitting ducks if you can sneak in and initiate a head-to-head with them. However, this is a two-way street and you'll always need to keep one eye on the minimap for incoming challenges as well. In particular, if you find yourself driving by a car drop that has already been taken, then prepare to run, because somebody's just got themselves a new speed machine and you know they'd love to try it out on you.
Between the ever-shifting arena and the spontaneous way head-to-head race routes are created, your biggest adversary in Eliminator can actually be the map itself. There's nothing more frustrating than watching a finish line appear in the exact opposite direction that you're facing, handing your opponents a major advantage. So here are a few tips you can apply to avoid this sort of situation. First off, it's a good idea to make sure you've got the map set to a button which you can easily hit, allowing you to easily keep an eye on it even when you're speeding along at 100 miles per hour. Head-to-head races will almost always take you towards the center of the map, so your best bet is to try and stay and float around the edges, pointed in a direction that will help you make it there first, should the opportunity for a one-on-one contest arise. And you can apply a similar trick to the final showdown by looking where the final circle ends up on the map. This is my personal trick, right? So listen up. You have to decide where to blast off the starting grid before that final circle opens up. If it looks like it's going to be set over on the east coast, your final circle, the chances are that the showdown is going to have you heading all the way back west across that lovely open space you've driven through. So you're going to want to position yourself in a way that lets you go tearing off in that direction as soon as the gate opens. So be sure to keep your speed up ahead of the finish line appearing and absolutely blast it towards that final circle wall, because when it vanishes, you're already flying through it and you're going to steal an early advantage. Just like in any Forza Horizon 5 event, knowing the map will also help you to play to your vehicle's strengths. It's not always about taking the most direct route to your destination, but finding the one that will offer that split-second advantage over your competitors.
Ultimately though, the Eliminator is as brutal a contest as its name suggests. Just like in Highlander, there can only be one, so it could take a while before you actually get to taste victory for yourself. But if you pick the right starting location, choose your cars wisely, keep an eye on the map, and make the most of your head-to-head opportunities, you're sure to come out on top sooner or later. And it's also important not to get discouraged if you find yourself in the weaker car heading into a head-to-head, or even the final showdown. The dynamic nature of the Eliminator means that some slick driving or just a slice of luck can suddenly put you back in the driver's seat. In the end, the time spent patiently waiting will just make it all the more sweeter when you finally triumph.
If you've finally managed to crack the Eliminator, or you've got a few pearls of wisdom of your own to share, tell us down in the comments right now. And if you're looking for more handy tips and tricks for games like Forza Horizon and Halo Infinite, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell. Bye bye!